everybody, JR here. Thanks for tuning in to Local 10. And today we have special guest, multi-talented and nice guy according to some people, but and most of all, a good friend of mine, Mr. Doug Stocks. Doug,
Hey,
thank you
Jeff.
for doing this.
Oh, my
Appreciate it.
pleasure.
So we're going to fire off some random questions and see how you answer them.
Okay.
Remember, this is family orientated, so
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
well then.
so I can't bleep out anything.
Well, there goes all those answers.
Okay, first question. You most likely played music all your life, but what did you do to make a living other than playing music in the past?
Oh, well, I went to college for electronics.
Nice.
As an engineer. And I worked for the phone company
Oh,
as a fiber technician and as a switch technician, or taking care of the long distance switches for the phone company. But I've also, a funny story, when I was in Orlando and I was working a small house job, and I was band leader, and I was making just enough kind of to get by, and I was in my early 30s and said, you know what, I probably need to do something different. And so I went to real estate school.
really?
And the day that my license, and I was going to get my gold jacket that day, my license came in the mail, and I was for Century 21. And that day, Church Street Station called and almost doubled my salary. And then the next day, Disney called. And
Wow.
so I was working day and night, so I never did sell real estate. But I used all that knowledge to buy houses for myself. So
Well, that works.
yeah,
You get
so,
the inside scoop.
so yeah. But I'd like to say that no, I've always just made a million, but
You give that up, working on your second.
yeah.
All right, well, cool. All right, how did you get into music? Was it in the house growing up? Did your family do it? Did you do it on your own, be a rebel, or how did you get into it?
Well, my dad was a great whistler, and in his gas station that he owned a gas station, and is a mechanic, and I worked up there in my younger life, in the front office pumping gas and cleaning windshields. Anyway, he always had the radio on, a country radio on, and my mom plucked around on the piano quite a bit. But one night, a fella stopped by the house, and he was door to door. He was selling guitar lessons, and of course we would go to he taught in town, where we'd have to go and take the lessons, but he had to be 9 to do it. So my older brother, he was trying to get my older brother to do it, and he wanted nothing to do with it. And I'm sitting over there going, because I had been watching all these variety shows like the Smothers Brothers and Glenn Campbell, the Glenn Campbell Hour, and I was watching all these guitar players, singers, and Roy Clark, and so I really wanted to do it. So for my 9th birthday, that's what I got for my 9th birthday, was guitar lessons.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. All right, this is always an interesting one. Any of your musical heroes that you got the privilege to meet in person?
Oh yeah, quite a few of them actually. But I was thrilled to get to be not real close friends, but at least get friendly with a steel player, a couple of great steel players. But the one that really influenced me was Buddy Emmons, and so he used to do Church Street Station for the TNN tapings all the time, and I never could figure out how to kind of get to talk to him very much, because he wasn't really standoffish. He just was, I don't know, he just always seemed busy or whatever. But one day I was standing there, and I said, "Hey, buddy, let me buy you a beer." And then that was it.
That
I
worked.
couldn't shut him up then. So we got to be kidding around, and I wound up using his steel. One of the really good days of my life was I got to use his steel, because they were doing their TN tapings, and Lee Greenwood showed up and wanted to. It was during the Gulf War, and he wanted to sing "God Bless the USA." Well, their band hadn't rehearsed it yet, and our band did it every night. And it's not that those guys couldn't play it; it's just that we already knew the song. So they just said, "Well, just play." So here I am, and that got transmitted over satellite to TNN on the Ralph Emery Show. So I got to play via satellite on national television behind Lee Greenwood using Buddy Emmons steel.
Wow.
So that was a good night.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is, you probably have to think about this because this is family orientated.
Oh, okay.
Any funny stories that you could tell us from the road?
Oh, yeah, and it's got to be family
It's
oriented.
gotta
I see. Well, oh yeah, I'm sure there is. Let's see. Well, the first day I went to touring on a bus, and I had moved to Nashville, and we were heading towards Dallas to open for Alan Jackson at the Cotton Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of excited, and I had driven back and forth to Florida to get all my stuff, and I was kind of tired anyway, but I was kind of wired up, and I was trying to kill time because we're supposed to meet the bus, I think 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and it was still early, so I was trying to figure out what to do. So I went to the movies.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, I went to the movies, and the big movie that was playing right then was Interview with a Vampire. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, I think.
Okay.
And anyway, so I get done watching it, and I still get to the bus early enough that nobody else is there, but the bus is there. So he said, just pick a bunk, and I'm trying to be the nice guy. And I figure, well, at home, everybody wants the top bunks and everybody wants to be in the back and whatever. So I figured I'd take the lowest bunk up front, just to try to be a nice guy. Well, it turns out that bunk is the best bunk to get, because the lower you are, the less of that there is, and the more front you are, the less bouncing from the back there is. So I wound up getting the best bunk. But when we finally, everybody got there and we took off, and I laid down in that bunk, and the bunks are like a little coffin. And I lay down and I crossed my arms and I crossed my legs and trying to fit in this little, and I've been to see this movie, and all of a sudden I just kind of had a panic attack, like I'm in a coffin. So I had to roll back out and go back out and sit in the kitchen area for a little while and calm down a little bit, and then I went back in and went.
Be careful what you watch before you go on tour.
Yeah, so if you're gonna get a tour bus in those little bunks, yeah, don't go to a vampire movie.
I'll remember that next time I'm heading out on tour.
Yeah.
All right, the final one. This is always interesting. Any advice for new musicians wanting to get into the music business?
Well,
anything really, not just the business, but playing, anything like that. Any advice?
Well, you really have to, I think you have to immerse yourself in it, really decide what it is that you love, and listen to it a lot and get it into your head, and believe you can do it, because gosh, I remember to the point where I had seen this movie, I must have watched a lot of movies. Saw this movie with Kurt Russell in it. It was they put curlers in his hair, and then at night they'd play this tape, and he was supposed to, and it made him smart to pass all these tests. Wow. Anyway, the Buddy Emmons records, I had them on cassette, and I'd go to sleep at night and turn that on real low and go to sleep with it, thinking maybe by osmosis or something somehow it would get into my head. Right. I'm not sure that it did, but just that obsession, and going to St. Louis and watching them in person, and don't stay in a bubble. Talk to people, learn as much as you can, get as much good information from knowledgeable people as you can. Try to, and probably the best thing that I ever did, if you're looking to really advance. Now this has nothing to do with being good friends and being loyal to your band. This has to do with, if you really want to become good at it, is change bands. Get with a good band and pick out the person in the band that's better, the best one in the band, and he's your target. And when you kind of feel like you always make progress with bands, but when you kind of feel like you're almost on top of the band, or that that's a good time to try to step to another level. At some point, that's not necessary anymore, because every band you'll be in will be good. So, but at the beginning, you'll get whatever you can, and a little neighborhood band, and all the chords will be 3 chords, and maybe nobody plays anything right, but stay with them until you kind of get your footing, and then try to advance to another one, and then another one. But if you're just looking to be happy and play with your neighborhood guys, that's nothing wrong with that either.
So basically, be happy.
Yeah, enjoy what you're doing, because this business is tough, and
It is.
and if you're not loving what you're doing, you go back to school and do something different.
My dad told me that when after my first gig playing out, we came home that night, and he said, "Did you have fun doing what you're doing?" 7 years old, I got to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Of course, I had fun. Do you think you'll like it as you get older? Yes. It was okay. Well, I won't let you continue if you're not going to like it and you're not going to enjoy what you're doing, because you sure are not going to make any money at it.
That's it.
And that I've lived by that all along. But
Although my first time on stage was, I guess I was 10 or 11, and we made $25 for the band.
wow.
The 4 of us, and we were up on top of they put plywood over the pool tables, and we were up on top of there for a stage, and so like making $5. Of course, this would have been in the late '60s, so that made a lot more than my paper route. So I was kind of like, yeah, ka-ching.
Let's do this again next week, fellas. Yeah, that's cool. All right, well, I appreciate it. And you can check out Doug Stock here. We're actually in the back room at the Orange Blossom Opry right now in Weirsdale, Florida. But be sure to check them out. Yes, that's right. Check them out. They're getting ready to do a Friday Night Live here on Facebook tonight, and all the boys, they'll be there. So again, thank you for doing this.
Oh man,
And-
I appreciate it. And go
Yes.
check out JR. That's what you want to go see.
Yeah, well, they pay me to stop playing sometimes. No, seriously. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and be sure and check in next time. You never know who's going to be here. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.